somewhat puzzling teachings on the part of Jesus this morning, especially in light of the first reading from the prophet Isaiah, where Isaiah is filling people with hope of what their future is going to be. They have been in exile. They come home to a land that's been blighted, a temple destroyed. And yet Isaiah says, even looking at that tragedy, the day will come when people are coming to Jerusalem from all the lands of the earth. Hard to see in that moment. It'd be like walking into Gaza today and saying, someday, it's all going to be good again. But at the moment, it does not look possible. And Jesus, in part of the gospel today, also says that the banquet will be enjoyed by people from north, south, east, west. All kind of folks are going to pass through those pearly gates and be part of the kingdom of God. And yet, there's these little exclusionary moments. Some are going to knock, and from the inside, the master says, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're from. He began by talking about that narrow gate. We have to strive to enter through. So on one hand, it's like this expansive view of the kingdom of God. At the same time, this striving that is going to be needed on the part of ourselves. To come into St. Francis Seraph Church, now you have to go through a gate. This is a gated community. So everybody had to go through the kind of narrow gate to get here. It's only there for a few weeks. But it's sort of symbolic that, we couldn't just come from anywhere. We had to go through the gate. And there's something of that Jesus is telling us, I think, in his teaching today. It's not just a free ride. We have to strive. We have to put effort into how we are living our lives so that those gates are opened for us when our day comes. The second reading talks about discipline. That if a mother or father loves the child, they're going to discipline the child. The same is true of the teachers in the school. If you care about the children, you're going to discipline them. You're just not going to let them run amok. They would like to do that, but that's not going to help them. They have to enter through the door. And as they enter the door, their cell phones go in a box. Too distracting. They're here to learn. Put away the phones. It's a good instruction for many of us sometimes. Put it down. Leave it alone for a while. All that distraction. And the children know if they're going to learn, if they're going to achieve, then tardy all the time doesn't work. Excuses and talking in class. We know children need to be disciplined so that they are in the mindset of learning. If they're going to get through Miss Jones' 4th grade to the 5th grade, they're going to have some discipline. It's not just going to happen for them. And so for all of us, to enter into the kingdom of God, we have to sort of discipline ourselves. In the city of Jerusalem, apparently, there was a large gate that would be opened when a caravan of people came into the city, with their dromedaries and everything else. It needed to be a big gate, but most of the time that gate wasn't open. You had to go through a much narrower gate. You couldn't carry all your earthly belongings through that gate. And we have to be careful that we're not trying to carry too much of our own stuff if we're going to enter through that narrow passage, an excess of satisfying all our appetites for drink and food and pleasure, our appetite for maybe wealth, appetite for being in control, sometimes even the excess of work, all can get in the way of our moving in that relationship toward wholeness. And that's what I would call salvation. We're coming to that place of wholeness. And there we can be so at peace because we've reached that place of great satisfaction. So we are encouraged by the Lord today to strive. Every child in school has to strive to do his or her best. And all of us have to strive to live by the ways that God is teaching us so that we too are passing through that gate and will enjoy the immensity of the kingdom of God. So I know in my own life there are at times things that I'm carrying that aren't getting me to the right place. I need less of that. I need less of that. I need more of this. We have to keep tempering ourselves as to how am I going to come to that deep place of wholeness that I know what salvation feels like. Not just when I pass through the pearly gates, but even now, to be in that good place with God. Part of that is the discipline of prayer. That is part of what all of us need to do. When Jesus was addressing this parable, he was talking probably particularly to some of the scribes and Pharisees, the high priest, who were darn sure they're going to get there. That's when Jesus says, well, everybody who thinks they're first just might be last. Just because you ate and drank and heard me preach in the street doesn't mean you really know me. Oh, but I went to Mass every Sunday. I received communion every Sunday. And I listened to your teachings. I don't know where you're from. Well, we certainly don't want to hear that. We keep striving to deepen some relationship with God so that we're moving in that direction of deep down wholeness, which is another word for holiness. So it's not that we can presume that everybody's going to be there. I think most everybody's going to be there. But it doesn't mean there isn't some striving on our part that's called for. Day in and day out, trying to do what the Lord is asking of us. So may he give us the grace, indeed, to keep striving. Let's stand and profess our faith.